My sister Rhea stood there with frosting splattered across her designer heels, staring at my 8-year-old daughter's birthday cake destroyed on the floor. The rainbow layers I'd spent 3 days perfecting were now scattered across the patio like broken dreams. "She doesn't deserve a celebration," she spat, while 30 guests watched in horror. But when my little girl Penny smiled and held up her tablet saying, "Aunt Rhea, should I show everyone what you did last night?" I knew my shy daughter had just become the bravest person in that room. Let me back up because you need to understand who we all are to grasp how insane this moment was. I'm Grace, 35 years old, and I run a small bakery called Sweet Memories on Maple Street. You know that corner shop with the yellow awning where kids press their noses against the glass to see the cupcakes? That's mine. I inherited it from my grandmother, along with her secret recipe books that she brought from France 50 years ago. Every morning at 4 a.m., you'll find me covered in flour, piping roses onto wedding cakes, or glazing donuts for the before-work crowd. It's not glamorous work, but I love it. My daughter Penny just turned 8 that day. She's the quiet one in class, the girl who sits in the back row and draws unicorns in her notebook margins. Her teachers always write the same thing on report cards. Penny is sweet but needs to participate more. She got my brown eyes and unfortunate tendency to blush when anyone looks at her too long. But here's what most people don't know about Penny. She sees everything. While other kids are talking and showing off, she's watching, listening, absorbing every detail like a little sponge in light-up sneakers. Then there's my sister Rhea, 3 years older than me, and about $1 million richer. Real estate is her game, and she plays it ruthlessly. You've probably seen her face on bus stop benches around town. Rhea Morrison, making your dreams come true. She drives a white Mercedes that costs more than I make in a year and lives in one of those glass houses overlooking the river. Growing up, she was the golden child who got straight A's and scholarship offers while I was burning cookies in home economics. Our parents thought she'd become a doctor or lawyer. Instead, she became something worse, someone who measures human worth in dollar signs. My mother, Dorothy, 62 and still trying to pretend her daughters get along, arrived at the party wearing her favorite purple dress and carrying enough wrapped presents to stock a small toy store. She's one of those mothers who never quite figured out where she went wrong, why one daughter bakes happiness for strangers while the other destroys anyone who threatens her success. Mom volunteers at the library, leads a book club, and makes the best potato salad in 3 counties. She also has this tragic habit of making excuses for Rhea's behavior, always saying things like, "She's just stressed from work," or "Success is lonely at the top." My brother Wade is the forgotten middle child who somehow turned out normal. At 40, he's a high school history teacher with twin boys who could destroy a clean room in 30 seconds flat. Wade married smart, chose teaching over corporate law, and shows up to every family event with homemade cookies and a referee whistle for when things get heated. He's the one who taught Penny how to ride a bike and how to save computer files in multiple places, just in case the first one disappears. That lesson would prove more valuable than any of us imagined. The party was supposed to be simple. Just family, some school friends, and neighbors gathering in my backyard to celebrate Penny turning 8. I'd strung fairy lights between the trees and set up a craft station where kids could decorate their own cupcakes. The bounce house rental took most of my savings, but seeing Penny's face when she saw it that morning made every penny worth it. She actually squealed, then immediately covered her mouth, embarrassed by her own joy. "Mom, is all this really for me?" she'd asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Every bit of it, baby," I told her, fixing the birthday girl tiara on her head. "You deserve to be celebrated." Those words would echo back to haunt me 3 hours later when Rhea decided my daughter deserved the exact opposite. But standing there in the wreckage of what should have been a perfect day, watching my 8-year-old hold that tablet with the steadiest hands I'd ever seen, I realized something powerful. Sometimes the people who speak the softest carry the biggest stick. And my quiet little Penny was about to show everyone, especially her Aunt Rhea, that being smart isn't about grades or test scores or how much money you make. It's about knowing when to watch, when to listen, and when to reveal what you've seen. The cake on the floor wasn't the disaster. The disaster was Rhea, thinking she could bully a child who'd inherited more than just her grandmother's eyes. She'd inherited her sense of justice, too. The morning started perfectly. I'd been up since 4 a.m. decorating our backyard with unicorn-themed decorations, Penny's current obsession. Purple and pink streamers twisted between the oak trees, and I'd spent an hour inflating a rainbow arch that kept trying to float away in the morning breeze. As a bakery owner, I knew the cake had to be spectacular, so I'd spent 3 days creating the perfect 3-tier rainbow cake with edible glitter that sparkled in the sunlight. Each layer was a different flavor, strawberry, lemon, and chocolate, because Penny could never pick just one favorite. "Mom, this is the best birthday ever," Penny whispered, hugging me tight as she surveyed the transformed backyard. She was still in her pajamas, her hair sticking up in 12 directions, but her eyes were brighter than I'd seen them in months. "Go get dressed, birthday girl. People will start arriving soon," I said, kissing the top of her head. She smelled like maple syrup from breakfast and that strawberry shampoo she insisted on using. By noon, the backyard was filling up. My mother, Dorothy, arrived first, naturally, carrying enough presents to require 2 trips from her car. "Where's my birthday princess?" she called out, and Penny ran into her arms, giggling as Mom spun her around. "Careful, Mom, you're back," I warned, but she waved me off. "I'm not that old yet, Grace. Besides, you only turn 8 once." She set Penny down and surveyed my decorations. "You've outdone yourself, honey. This looks like something from a magazine." "Thanks, Mom. Is Rhea coming?" I tried to keep my voice neutral. Mom's smile tightened just a fraction. "She said she'd be here. Some big property closing this morning, but she promised she'd make it." Wade arrived next with his twin boys, Tucker and Milo, who immediately started a water balloon fight despite my clear instructions about saving those for later. "Sorry, Grace," Wade called out, not looking sorry at all. "Boys will be boys." "Uncle Wade!" Penny ran to him, and he scooped her up with one arm. "There's the birthday girl. 8 years old, that's practically ancient," he teased, making her laugh. "I remember when you were born, no bigger than a loaf of bread." "Was I really that small?" Penny asked, fascinated as always by stories of her baby days. "Smallest baby I ever saw, but with the biggest eyes. You looked like you were trying to memorize everything from day one." More guests trickled in. Penny's teacher, Mrs. Henderson, brought her daughter. 3 girls from Penny's class arrived together, immediately admiring the bounce house. Our elderly neighbor, Mr. Chen, came with his grandson, carrying a gift wrapped in paper covered with dinosaurs, because, as he explained loudly, the store was out of unicorn paper, but dinosaurs are cool too, right? The backyard filled with laughter, kids bouncing and screaming with joy, parents chatting over cups of my homemade lemonade. I'd made 3 kinds of sandwiches, cut into fun shapes, and set up a fruit rainbow on a platter that actually looked like Pinterest photos for once. Everything was going exactly as planned. "Your daughter seems so happy," Mrs. Henderson said to me, watching Penny attempt a cartwheel with her friends. "She's really coming out of her shell lately." "She's been looking forward to this for months," I replied, feeling that warm pride only mothers know. She made a countdown calendar and everything. At 2 p.m. sharp, just as I was about to bring out the cake, I heard the unmistakable sound of Rhea's Mercedes pulling up. The bass from her music thumped twice before cutting off. She stepped out wearing a white silk dress that probably cost more than my monthly mortgage, her phone pressed to her ear, designer sunglasses perched on her perfectly styled blonde hair. "I don't care what the buyers want, tell them it's my way or no deal," she barked. Into the phone, her voice carrying across the yard. Several parents looked up. "They can't back out now, we're too far into escrow. Handle it, Derek. That's what I pay you for." She hung up and click-clacked across the grass in heels completely inappropriate for a backyard party. "Sorry I'm late, Grace," she said, not sounding sorry at all. "Some of us have real careers to manage." I bit my tongue, feeling the familiar sting of her casual cruelty. Not today. This was Penny's day, and I wouldn't let Rhea ruin it with her snide comments about my little baking hobby. "Rhea!" Mom rushed over to greet her. "We were starting to worry you wouldn't make it." "As if I'd miss my only niece's birthday," Rhea said loudly enough for everyone to hear, though she hadn't even looked at Penny yet. She was too busy typing on her phone, probably calculating commission on her latest sale while standing at a child's birthday party. The party was going beautifully until cake time. I just lit the candles, all 8 of them plus one for luck, when Ria's voice cut through the happy birthday song like a knife through warm butter. Really, Grace? All this fuss for a child who can't even get straight A's? The singing faltered, voices dropping off one by one like dominoes falling. I saw Penny's face fall, her smile vanishing as if someone had blown out more than just candles. The other kids looked confused. Parents exchanged uncomfortable glances, and Mrs. Henderson actually gasped. "Ria, not now," Mom whispered urgently, placing a hand on her eldest daughter's arm. But my sister was on a roll, the way she got when she'd had one too many glasses of wine at lunch or closed a particularly big deal. I mean, when I was 8, I was already in advanced programs. Penny's barely keeping up with basic math. Maybe if you spent less time playing baker and more time helping with homework, she'd have something to actually celebrate. "Stop it," I said firmly, my hands shaking as I held the cake. The candles flickered, wax starting to drip onto the perfect frosting roses I'd piped that morning. "I'm just being honest," Ria continued, her voice taking on that fake concern tone she used with clients. "Everyone here is thinking it. I'm just saying it. Look around, Grace. Do you see any other parents throwing parties this elaborate for a C student?" Tucker and Milo had stopped bouncing. The entire backyard had gone silent except for the music still playing from the speaker, some cheerful pop song that now felt grotesquely out of place. "She's 8 years old," Wade said, his teacher voice coming out, the one he used with difficult students. "Exactly my point," Ria shot back. 8 years old and already falling behind. When does the coddling stop? When does reality set in? She walked closer to the cake table, her heels sinking slightly into the grass with each step. "You're not doing her any favors, Grace. The real world doesn't care about participation trophies and birthday parties." That's when Penny spoke up, her small voice barely audible, but somehow carrying across the yard. "I have a mom who loves me." The words hung in the air for a moment, so pure and simple that several parents smiled despite the tension. Mr. Chen nodded approvingly, but Ria laughed. Actually laughed, throwing her head back like Penny had just told the funniest joke. "Love doesn't pay bills, sweetie. Your mom knows that better than anyone, living off my loans half the time." I felt my face burn with humiliation. It was true that Ria had lent me money when the bakery's oven broke last year, and again when Penny needed dental surgery. But throwing it in my face at my daughter's birthday party in front of everyone we knew was a new low even for her. "Ria," Wade interjected, stepping forward, "there are children here." "Good, they should learn early that life isn't all unicorns and rainbows." She gestured at the decorations with disgust. "This whole fantasy world Grace has created is exactly the problem. No wonder Penny can't face reality when her mother can't either." She was standing right next to the cake table now, close enough that I could smell her expensive perfume mixing with the sweet vanilla frosting. Her manicured fingers drummed on the white tablecloth I'd borrowed from Mom. "You know what Penny's teacher told me?" Ria announced to the crowd, though Mrs. Henderson looked mortified. "She said Penny spends more time daydreaming than participating." "Well, of course she does. Look at her role model, a woman who thinks making cookies is a career." "My mommy's cookies are the best in town," one of Penny's classmates piped up, but her mother quickly shushed her. "That's sweet, honey, but being the best cookie maker in town is like being the prettiest pig in the mud," Ria said, her voice dripping condescension. "It's still not much to brag about." I watched Penny's face crumble completely, tears starting to pool in her eyes. My baby, my sweet girl who'd been so happy just minutes ago, was being emotionally destroyed by her own aunt at her birthday party. "This whole celebration is ridiculous," Ria declared, gesturing wildly. "You're setting her up for disappointment, Grace. Just like Dad did with you, always telling you that little bakery would make you happy. Look where that got you. A single mom drowning in debt, raising a child who will probably end up just like you." She was standing right next to the table now, her hand resting on the edge. I saw her fingers grip the tablecloth, and my brain couldn't process what was happening until it was too late. With one swift motion, she pushed the entire cake off the table. The beautiful 3-tier rainbow cake crashed onto the ground, splattering across the patio in an explosion of color. Frosting flew in every direction, hitting shoes and party dresses. The unicorn topper shattered into ceramic pieces, its golden horn rolling to a stop at Mr. Chen's feet. The entire party stood frozen in disbelief, 30 people watching the destruction like witnesses to a car crash. "She doesn't deserve a celebration," Rhea declared, brushing imaginary dust off her hands with the satisfied look of someone who'd just closed $1 million deal. I looked at Penny. Tears were streaming down her face, her little shoulders shaking as she stared at the cake she'd been dreaming about for weeks. The birthday tiara I'd placed on her head that morning now seemed to mock her pain. My heart shattered worse than that unicorn topper, and I felt rage building in my chest like a volcano about to erupt. I was about to lose it. 8 years of built-up frustration with my sister was about to explode right there in front of everyone. My fists clenched, and I took a step forward, ready to show Rhea what happened when you hurt my child. Wade must have seen it in my face because he moved closer, ready to intervene. But then something extraordinary happened. Penny wiped her tears with the back of her hand, took a deep breath that seemed too big for her small body, and smiled. Not a sad smile, not a forced smile, a knowing smile, the kind I'd never seen on her face before. "Aunt Rhea," she said clearly, her voice carrying across the silent backyard, "should I show everyone what you did last night?" Rhea's face went white, the color draining so fast I thought she might faint. "What are you talking about?" Penny walked over to the gift table, her light-up sneakers flashing with each determined step. She picked up her tablet, the same pink-case tablet Rhea had given her last Christmas, insisting it would help her catch up academically. The irony wasn't lost on me. "You know, Aunt Rhea, you were right about one thing," Penny said, her voice steady now, no trace of tears. "I'm not good at math, but I'm really good at other things, like noticing when people forget I'm there." My mother stepped forward, her purple dress swishing. "Penny, sweetheart, what's going on?" Penny turned to face everyone, holding the tablet against her chest like armor. "Last night, Aunt Rhea came to our house. She said she needed to use Mom's computer for work because hers crashed. Mom was at the bakery doing overnight prep for my party, making sure everything would be perfect." "You little brat, give me that tablet," Rhea hissed, but her voice had lost its earlier confidence. Wade stepped between them, his teacher authority taking over. "Let her talk," Penny continued, speaking to the crowd like she was giving a book report, clear and precise. "But she wasn't doing work stuff. I was in my room, supposed to be sleeping, but I heard her on the phone. So I crept down the hallway and watched through the crack in the door. Mrs. Henderson had pulled out her phone, and I noticed several other parents doing the same. They sensed something big was happening. She was in Mom's banking files, and she was on the phone with someone named Derek talking about how she was going to take Mom's bakery recipes and sell them to some big company. She said Mom was too stupid to know they were worth millions." The crowd gasped collectively. Mr. Chen's grandson actually dropped his juice box. "That's ridiculous," Rhea sputtered, but sweat was beading on her forehead despite the mild afternoon temperature. "She took pictures of all Mom's secret recipe books," Penny continued, her confidence growing with each word. "The ones Grandma left her, the ones from France that Mom keeps in the locked drawer, the ones Mom never lets anyone see, not even me. Aunt Rhea used Mom's key from the emergency hiding spot under the flour canister." I felt my knees go weak. Those recipes were my inheritance, my grandmother's legacy, the heart of my bakery. Some of them were over 100 years old, written in my grandmother's careful script with notes in French along the margins. "And I recorded everything on my tablet," Penny announced, holding it up higher. 23 minutes of video. I learned how to use the screen recording function from YouTube. You were so busy stealing from Mom that you never noticed the tablet propped up on the bookshelf. Wade put his hand on my shoulder, steadying me. "Smart girl," he murmured. "She called me this morning, asked me to help her save the files in multiple places. I thought she was working on a school project." "You're lying!" Rhea lunged for the tablet, but Wade caught her arm, his grip firm from years of breaking up cafeteria fights. "Don't touch her," he warned, his voice carrying an edge I'd never heard before. Penny pressed play. The tablet's volume was turned all the way up, and Rhea's voice filled the backyard crystal clear and unmistakable. "Derek, I'm telling you, my idiot sister has been sitting on a gold mine for years. These recipes are from our grandmother's famous bakery in France. Grace doesn't even realize what they're worth. Once I have them all documented, we can approach Delights International. They'll pay at least $2 million for exclusive rights." The video showed Rhea photographing page after page of my grandmother's handwritten recipe books, her phone camera clicking repeatedly. She was wearing the same designer watch she had on now, the same red nail polish. There was no denying it was her. "The best part," video Rhea continued while flipping through pages, "is Grace is so far behind on her loans to me, I can force her to sign over the rights as payment. She'll have no choice. I've already had my lawyer draft the papers. She's too trusting to read the fine print." Several parents were now openly recording with their phones. Mrs. Henderson looked disgusted. Mr. Chen was shaking his head, muttering something in Mandarin that didn't sound complimentary. But the video wasn't done. Rhea's voice continued. "Make sure the health inspector shows up Monday morning. I've already planted the evidence. A few dead roaches in the right places, some expired milk, hidden behind the good stuff, and her bakery gets shut down. Then she'll really be desperate." "Oh my God," someone whispered. It might have been me. "I put 3 dead roaches in a Ziploc bag in the back of her supply closet," video Rhea said, laughing, "and I changed the dates on some of her ingredient containers. That bakery will be closed by Monday afternoon, and she'll come crying to me for help. That's when I present the contract. She'll sign anything to keep from losing everything." The backyard erupted. Parents were talking over each other, some calling Rhea horrible names, others pulling their children closer as if her corruption might be contagious. Mom had collapsed into a lawn chair, holding her chest, her face pale with shock. Wade was already on his phone. "Yes, this is Wade Morrison. I need to speak to someone about corporate fraud and conspiracy charges. My sister has video evidence of attempted theft of intellectual property valued at over $2 million. Rhea tried to run, but her heel caught in the soft grass. She stumbled, her arms windmilling as she tried to catch her balance. Instead, she fell forward, landing face first in the destroyed birthday cake with a splat that would have been funny if the situation weren't so serious. When she lifted her head, rainbow frosting covered her entire face and designer dress. Red cake mixed with yellow and blue, creating a grotesque mask. Her perfectly styled hair was now matted with purple icing. She looked around at everyone filming her, at Mom's disgusted expression, at Wade now giving our address to what sounded like the police. "Penny," she sputtered through a mouthful of frosting, struggling to her knees. "Please, I'm your aunt. I was just trying to help the family. Those recipes should benefit everyone, not just your mother." Penny walked closer, still holding the tablet, and I moved to stand beside her. My daughter looked up at me, then back at her aunt. "You said I don't deserve celebration because I'm not smart enough," Penny said, her voice carrying the kind of dignity some adults never achieve. "But I was smart enough to protect my mom, and I was smart enough to know that when someone shows up at your house at night when they think nobody's watching, they're probably doing something wrong." She turned to the crowd. "And you know what else? I have copies saved in 3 different cloud accounts. Uncle Wade helped me set them up this morning. I also emailed a copy to myself, to Mom, and to Uncle Wade. So even if Aunt Rhea had gotten my tablet, it wouldn't have mattered." Wade nodded, putting his phone on speaker so everyone could hear. "My attorney is already filing charges. Corporate espionage, attempted fraud, conspiracy to commit health code violations, breaking and entering since she used the key without permission. Rhea's real estate license is done. She'll be lucky if she doesn't serve jail time." Rhea tried to stand up, slipped on more cake, and fell. Again? This time, nobody moved to help her. She sat there in the ruins of the party she'd destroyed, covered in the cake she'd said Penny didn't deserve, finally experiencing a humiliation money couldn't fix. The police arrived 20 minutes later. Rhea was arrested on multiple charges, still covered in rainbow cake that had started to dry and crack on her face. As they led her to the patrol car, she kept screaming about how we were family, how this was all a misunderstanding, how she'd make us pay for this humiliation. The officers had to duck her head to get her into the back seat, her designer dress now a canvas of destroyed dreams and bad decisions. The news stations picked up the story within hours. 8-year-old exposes aunt's $1 million theft attempt became a viral sensation. The video of Rhea face-planting into the birthday cake while trying to flee the scene got 12 million views in 3 days. Someone even made it into a meme about karma being served with rainbow frosting, but the real magic happened after everyone left. Penny and I sat on the porch swing, sharing a piece of backup cake I'd hidden in the freezer. Every baker knows you always make an extra just in case of disasters, though I'd never imagined one quite like this. The chocolate layer was Penny's favorite, and we ate it straight from the container with 2 forks. "How did you know to record her?" I asked, still amazed at my daughter's foresight. "She's always mean to you, Mom," Penny said simply, swinging her legs. "Always saying stuff about how you wasted your life, how you're not successful, but you make people happy every day with your cakes. You wake up at 4 a.m. to make someone's wedding perfect. You give free cupcakes to kids who can't afford them. Remember when you made 200 cookies for the homeless shelter and didn't charge them anything? That's success to me." I pulled her closer, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent. "When did you get so wise?" "Uncle Wade says I'm observant. He taught me that quiet people see more because they're not busy talking." She took another bite of cake. "So when Aunt Rhea showed up acting nice last night, saying she needed help, I knew something was wrong. She's never nice unless she wants something." My mother joined us on the porch, having stayed to help clean up. She looked older somehow, as if the day's events had aged her 5 years. "I'm ashamed of what Rhea became," she said quietly, sitting on my other side. "I gave you both the same love, the same opportunities, but Rhea always felt like she had to prove she was better than everyone else. You just wanted to make people smile." "What happened to her, Mom?" I asked, genuinely curious how my sister had become so twisted. "Success poisoned her," Mom said simply. "Every sale made her hungrier for the next one. Every dollar made her want 10 more. She stopped seeing people and only saw opportunities." She kissed Penny's forehead. "But you've raised a warrior, Grace, a kind, smart, brave warrior who knows that protecting family is worth more than any amount of money. 3 months later, my bakery is thriving beyond my wildest dreams. The publicity from Penny's video brought in customers from 3 states away. People wanted to taste the recipes someone had tried to steal, the ones worth millions. Delights International did approach me, but this time for a legitimate partnership where I retain all rights to Grandma's recipes. The signing bonus alone paid off all my debts, including what I owed Rhea. Rhea lost her real estate license and is serving 2 years for attempted corporate theft and fraud. She writes letters sometimes from prison, alternating between apologies and threats, but I don't open them anymore. They go straight into a file my lawyer keeps, just in case. Wade helped me set up proper security and digital backups for all my recipes. He also installed cameras in the bakery and taught me about password protection. His boys now call Penny their hero cousin and beg her to teach them how to be super spies like her. But the best outcome happened last week. Penny's teacher called, and I tensed, expecting bad news. Instead, Mrs. Henderson was bubbling with excitement. "Penny's grades have improved dramatically," she said. "But more importantly, she's participating in class, raising her hand, even helping other students. She seems more confident, like she finally believes in herself." I smiled, watching my daughter in the backyard, the same yard where her world had shattered and reformed. She was teaching other kids from the neighborhood how to make friendship bracelets, patiently showing them each step. "She always was smart," I replied. "She just needed the right moment to show it." That cake on the floor taught us something that no expensive school ever could. Money and success mean nothing if you lose your soul pursuing them. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one who sees everything clearly, and the best revenge isn't served cold. Sometimes it's served covered in rainbow cake at exactly the right temperature. If you enjoyed this story about standing up to bullies and protecting what matters most, please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear that being quiet doesn't mean being weak. Drop a comment below about a time when you or someone you know stood up to a bully in an unexpected way. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story about karma, justice, and the power of standing up for what's right. Thank you for watching. And remember, sometimes the smallest voice carries the biggest truth.